Hey guys, this is John. This is Using Clock as a Weapon. Let's get going. Playing Kids 2010, rated 2881. Nice beefy rating. Let's see if I can get E5 in. Nope, my opponent stops it. That is fine by me. We'll just play some standard developing moves and get rolling here in the first game. We always play 5 games in this series. I attempt to use the clock as a weapon, and maybe today I'll actually succeed in doing that. So, okay, let's take and play knight d7. Got to watch queen a4 check. But I wonder what white's going to do here. Probably try to mob me on the king side with their pawns somehow. f4, h3, g4. But I always think this pawn could be overextended for white. So I prefer taking that knight as soon as it lands on e5. So this is a nice change of pace compared to the long time control chess that I've been playing and focusing on recently with the Lone Wolf series. So everything in balance, right? And c4, okay. Yeah, that move makes sense. That's an interesting one. Take on e5. We trade. Bishop takes d5. I feel like this is the principled thing to do. I'm going to play it. Take. Probably bishop takes. d5 will be played. No, takes with the queen. All right. So can I take on e2 and then castle? That looks interesting. I'm just going to castle right away. I want to defend b7. I think this is a simpler move too. Maybe e4, but white squares around their king with their rook there look vulnerable. e4, I can actually play bishop e2 anyways. Rook e1, knight f3. So maybe a bit of a bind for white. I suppose they should play, yeah, knight c3. That makes sense. I'm going to take here. White does have bishop takes b7, but I think I'm willing to play that endgame. It'll be equal material. I have split A and C pawns, but otherwise my position looks good. Maybe even a slight lead in development. So should be fine. White takes right away, though. And now I think I'm just up a pawn, as far as I can tell. Okay. Knight c4, perhaps? Let's just play solid. Let's go b6. Reinforce this pawn. I want to keep this time edge if I'm able. Okay, take. Bishop e7. Not much to think about there. Probably white will want to maneuver their knight to d5. But white isn't working with a whole heck of a lot at this point. A lot of trades have been made. I'm liking my extra pawn. What can I say? Rook d8 is coming. Maybe knight c4 even. Tick-tock, though, for white. Not sure what they're really thinking about, because there's not much here. They just got to play a move. Yeah. Okay, rook d8. I think I'll just tuck this bishop on f8. It seems simple enough. This wasn't even a threat, but let's just take care of that while we can. And king b7, maybe? Threaten king c6. King c6, I guess there's knight b4, but this is at least going to make white think. Yeah, white's relying on knight b4. f6 or something. Let's play f6 to begin. It's hard for white to do much, so I'll just play a solid move. Maybe I can prepare king c6. I'll defend my rook with my knight so I can try to prepare this, because I might do it now. Or just retreat. Let's just retreat. Okay, take. Yeah, white's going to start putting on the turbo boost, because their position is lost. Take the bishop. Let's go h6 first. I think now I'm going to take. And let's play king e5. Go a6. Now bishop in. Let's go here. Bishop all the way back. I want to start knifing in with my king if I'm able. Okay. Take, push. And check. And check. All right. Chalk up that first win. Let's offer a rematch. Otherwise, we'll just play random players as usual. The time really made a difference there. No doubt about it. That time edge, even if it got reduced in the final, 20 moves of the game or whatever, no doubt that extra buffer that I had was crucial. Yeah, I'm surprised White didn't play bishop takes b7 check in that one when I took on e2. White could have played a desperado move first, so maybe they just didn't see it. Okay, who's it going to be? Let's search for a new game. Looks like my opponent doesn't want to play. Okay, Obito. I get black again. We don't mind playing black, though, especially if we get our favorite Scandi. No dice in this game, though. We have a Slav, and I'll play the main line. I'll take on c4. Bishop f5. Okay, and this is the traditional line. Yeah, this stuff has been played going way back. All the way back to what comes to mind for me is the 1927, I think 27, World Championship match between Max Zerva and Alexander Aljochin. 1927 could be completely wrong. I think it was sometime in the 1920s, but okay. Let's go knight c5. Knight c5 feels nice and active. Ooh, did I run into knight a2 though? Knight a2 is sometimes unpleasant. This backward knight move, because if bishop a5, there's b4. Perhaps I can take on a4, and I can always play a5 if I need to, though. But let's let White think about it. One idea I'm trying to play with recently is if I'm in any doubt, but I identify a pretty good move, I just want to play it right away and offload the decision-making to my opponent. So bishop g5. Let's go rook d8, just centralize. And again, kind of like last game, 20, 30 seconds, that would be phenomenal. I want to work with that time edge. So even if they reduce it in the time pressure, because many of these players are very fast, I want to remain 5-10 seconds ahead down the stretch. I don't mind a trade. Once again, we're accepting the isolated A and C pawns, but that pawn on c6 will be very useful in guarding d5, the d5 square. So let's even pre-move this just in case. Wow, White burning a ton of time here. No connection issues, doesn't look like. There's not a whole lot to think about. Oh, maybe it's my connection. Wait a second. What's going on? My clock is running, but... Oh, wow, that's weird. Okay. Readjust, John. That's okay. I'm going to play... Let's go a5. That was very strange. I didn't see that move come through. Maybe it did, and I just wasn't noticing. But queen f3. Now my opponent's move highlights are not working. Okay. That happens, though. Let's go rook d6. Maybe the move highlights were never working. The previous moves. Okay. Let's just double. Take this. So now I'm fighting with two knights versus two bishops. Probably White is better here, but I like the knights in a short time control situation. a5. Let's go queen over. I want to step out of this pin. I can threaten to take on e4. If I took on e4 before, queen takes e4 was the problem. Okay, captures. Let's take back with the pawn. Rook takes probably also decent. Knight is loose. Let's play it back. Knight d7. Okay. Take with the pawn. I'm giving white a pretty dangerous passed a pawn, but I feel like I need to keep control over d5. So let's attempt to do that. And now go back with the queen. Good move. I'm gonna go knight c5 and probably queen a7, try to blockade. White was attacking f7. So I can do something with these moves maybe. Let's guard here. Knight takes e4. White was hitting my rook on d8 though, so I don't think white's gonna make it. Too much time is elapsing from their clock. Should I take? There's rook d8. Let's take. Comes back. Go here. I'm just going to take. This actually loses a piece, but I don't think white's going to be in time. Just to simplify. Let's go here. Check. And here. Keep queens on. No reason to get heroic. Okay. I win that one. I'm going to pause this for a second and make sure my settings are all good, and then we'll resume the session. All right, we should be good now. I'm playing Whoops, I Did It Again, a GM, rated 2857. Let's play Queen's Gambit. And I won't go with my exchange Slav. We'll play something a little different right now. Something a bit offbeat. But yeah, it looks like the highlights are working again. Let's go knight bd2. And then maybe g3, fianchetto. Throw in h3. e4. Take the center. Why not? A bit unusual to have the knight on d2 versus c3, but I think it's all right. And c5. Okay, that's a sharp response. Makes sense, though. Yeah, that's probably a good move. I'm going to play rook e1. Yeah, this is annoying. Let's go queen b3, try to hit the pawn on b7. And if I take on d4, knight c5 looks a little unpleasant. But then I guess I can play queen e3, so maybe it's not too bad. But like this, guard everything. How do I unwind from here, though? Maybe b3, bishop b2? Something along those lines. Key thing is, watch the clock. This is no increment chess. So there's no going back once you're low on time. Okay. I think white might want e5. Not sure I can do much about that, so I'll play b3. Yeah, and then jump in here. Take. Slide over. There's bishop c5. Whoops. Realized that too late. That's a pretty disastrous move, but I got to roll with it. See what happens. Yeah, it's nasty. Rook f1. At least make black find the knockout, if a knockout exists. There's a lot of candidate moves. Bishop d4, obviously moves like knight takes h3. Bank another pawn. Queen d3. Okay, I was not expecting that. What if I take? Okay, they can just take. Queen d3. Probably just got to trade and hope for the best here. Bishop e3. Rook f3 maybe? Let's try it. This might just fail to something like knight d5. Although then I have bishop a3. Maybe I can work my way out of this. Oh, that move. That move's good. Yeah, now I got to take. And take on b7 or something? No, my bishop's hanging. Let's go here. Yeah, this is probably resignable at this point, but I'll play a few more moves. I do have a knight. Okay, let's resign this one. Yeah, that game was not good. I think after... let's offer my opponent a rematch. I think after c5, I lost the thread. Maybe I'll look at that one afterwards. Okay, knight f3. Let's play something a little different this time. Let's mix it up. Maybe a double fianchetto. Playing anajo. Let's go d6. Knight f6. Take. Maybe d5. Invites knight e5, but I think this should be fine. e6, just reinforce. Eventually challenge this knight somehow, knight c6 being the obvious way. Ooh, that move, though. Interesting. All right, we'll go bishop f8, offer a trade. Take. Hope you're all doing well. It's hard to say much in these games sometimes because I do feel like I'm just reacting most of the time. Bishop a6, knight d6, knight e8. White wants that d6 square. They want that square. Let's take and just play knight c6. Play this simple. Because I think if the knight eventually comes to d6, I always have knight e8 to trade for it. So I bet they'll actually pivot the knight to d4. Yeah. And now queen c7. But I got to control this majority that white has on the queen side. Let's go a5. I somehow feel this is a bit fragile for white. I think this could backfire on them if they're not careful. Let's go this rook over. Knight e4 maybe? Looks interesting. It's ready for b4, so I have to be a little careful about that. Yeah, let's play knight e4. This is the most direct move. I'm striving to get something going on this diagonal, especially if white wants to get b4 in and try to play with knight versus bishop. e3 somewhere could be annoying for white. So if I take on a1, that doesn't quite work. So let's play bishop d5 to start. Threatening b5. E5 maybe? Let's go e5. Look at my time. Not good. I didn't even notice how far behind I am. But I'm thinking after the trade, maybe e3, queen e4, if I can. In some cases. Huh. Okay, let's trade. Let's trade. And take again. Let's go here. I should have counterplay. I should have some potential counterplay. E3 maybe. Let's go E3. I'm going to sack a pawn. Well, I could actually take on B4 if white takes, because I'm guarding both these squares. But still, even as a pawn sack, I don't mind this. Maybe knight D5 is what white will do. Trade, trade, queen E7. Feels dynamically equal, but sharp. Anything can happen. Queen D4. All right, let's bring this over. Queen D6, queen B7. Okay. I'm going to take a chance that taking queen A1 gives me counterplay. And then queen B2. Check. Go win the B pawn. Probably shouldn't lose after this, at least in theory. Check again. Let's keep getting closer. Check. Take this. Check. Let's keep queens on. Nah, this is where I'm too slow. Okay, not using the clock as a weapon there. That's a good example of how the knight can be better than the bishop in a time scramble. Yeah, just too slow there. Should have sped up somewhere in the early queenless middle game. But honestly, yeah. I know I'm just slower, but I wish I were faster. G5 was a bad move. G5 weakening my king. I probably should have moved king H7 first. Probably black is close to winning here, if not outright winning, but it could take some technique because white is defending everything and their king is relatively safe. Okay, let's look for another game. And this will be the final game of the session. I'm playing Bleffer 66. Let's go English. 2759 rated opponent. Let's play the English. And knight F3. This kind of pseudo-English. Another double fianchetto, actually. Bishop G4. Okay, I'll take the bishops if you want to give them to me. Maybe D4, take the center. Let's play like this. E3. Bit of a maneuvering position. Let's go H4. And F5, wow. Really, F5, okay. Let's go A4. Maybe here, maybe B4 next. Start trying to get through on the queen side. Could also maneuver my knights, but I feel like I want to break right away. I feel like it's better to immediately get going on the queen side. A5 even. Knight E4, sure. Take that. Maybe E6 could be weak later. G5, whoa. This pawn is hanging. for one thing. Not sure white saw that, but okay, let's take it. I wonder if I should actually take here. If something like bishop e6 might be better. Let's play bishop e6. Because I don't think I fear opening the king side, actually. If I take the pawn, I think white could trade and bishop f6. So I think activating this piece makes sense. Threaten bishop takes e6. If knight f6, queen g6, or queen takes h4. Rook f6. Okay. So maybe now take the pawn. Rook f6 is interesting. Maybe queen g5 even. It's a very interesting move. f3 also comes to mind. No, but rook h6 is a threat. All right, I better take. Oh, I just want to trade queens, huh? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. King g2. Okay, I must be better now. I'm up a clear pawn, but I'm not up on the clock. c5. Whoa. Another move I missed. Okay, let's play this back. Take. There's e5, perhaps. White plays it. Let's go bishop b2. Okay. Complicated position. Should I take that knight, maybe? Otherwise, it's coming to c5. It looks annoying. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take and play rook e1. Start trying to go after some of these pawns. Contain them a bit. I don't know, though. Now it doesn't feel like I'm better on the board. Let's take. Maybe f3. Work up to f3. King f5. This is sharp. I don't know. Wow. So if I take king e5... All right, let's play the most direct way. So there's no king d4. I did see this. And take with the king. All right, so I definitely shouldn't lose at this point, but can I win? King b2 next, maybe. White's king is cut off. I'm up a pawn. Let's go here. White's going to repeat, or black's going to repeat now. Okay, so I'm going to play king b2 next. And now this move. Rook g5. Wait a second. Let's push. Should be winning now. Got to move the rook. Yep. Go here. Tricky though. Drawn now. I'll offer my opponent a draw. Oh. Okay, let's just. Oh. Okay. I think I had to double click to offer a draw. So if they had got a move in, I was going to take their rook, but that happens in time scrambles sometimes. Okay, so we get the win. But that's essentially a draw and an even score on the session. Interesting situation right at the end. I wonder if that actually is a draw. Rook a6. It's a little hard to put black in Zugzwang, I think. Let's check with the engine real quick. No, this is winning, and I played it right. Rook c7, that's what I did, right? Let's click into game review. Makes it a little easier. And then click here. It was a draw actually later. So how did I blow it after rook c7? So rook c7, defending the pawns, keeping the king out. King b3 blows it. Aha, so I had to keep cutting off the king. But rook d7, king e6, how does that change things? Do I just let the pawn drop? Because rook d1 take, this is often a draw, even with the king cut off by a file. Yeah, so... Oh, so I do it this way, which is similar to what happened in the game. But black's king is one file further away, 1 or 2 files further away. So I'm threatening rook check. And if, let's say, rook a5, check. And if king d7, oh, this trick, rook h8, that's also in the air. That's a nice one, threatening to promote. And if black takes, they get skewered again. Okay, that's a subtle situation in this rook ending. I felt like actually at this moment here, black should have played king d4. Yeah, king d4. King takes e4, though, is also okay. This felt like the right move, though, to me. So getting the king in where they can take either pawn, depending upon which way I go. But it's a tough hold for black, because they are still down a pawn. Or 2 pawns, rather. 1 or 2 pawns. Okay, so yeah, I finished with 2.5 out of 5. I want to check at least one of these other games. This game against Naho. This was interesting, this middle game. So white is better here. But then when I played knight e4, I'm battling back. I feel like I handled this phase of the game pretty well. Yeah, the engine says equal. Because I managed, although white got their pawns connected, I managed to stop b5. And white's king is progressively getting more exposed. So somewhere I felt like I got a big advantage. Oh, this is still equal, huh? This looks tough for white with their king exposed, but I guess white should hold it in theory. Yeah, I want a pawn. Still kind of tricky to win, though. White managed to get a stable position. Notice how white has everything on dark squares. And the knight can be an especially good defender of a king. So the knight being in close proximity to the white king keeps an eye on some vital squares. Whereas the queen guards the 2 pawns, presses up against my bishop. Yeah, and I should have played a preparatory move here, king g7. And this was just a pure time scramble at this point. So, feel okay about that. What about this game where I just got completely outplayed? I feel like c5. After c5, it started to go south. Yeah, black is better here. Played rook e1. Significant advantage. I played these positions as black, so I was already getting a bad feeling about what I had done here as white. Okay, and anything else I wanted to check? The Obito game. Yeah, this one, something weird happened in the middle game. At least it felt to me. White was somewhat better, but I was in the game in this one. Felt like I was getting outplayed on the board later, but the time situation was just a huge issue for white. Yeah, white was probably winning. And taking on a6 was a practical decision. Not the best move by any means, but I looked at the clock. I knew this a-pawn was annoying. I knew I was going to lose a piece here because white can pile up quickly with the pin. But that felt like the safest thing to do, actually, and just play for the flag. Okay, and what about the first game? This one, I think, kind of hinged on white not playing bishop takes b7. Yeah, bishop takes b7 here, because I just took on e2. It's a deflection move. Knight takes e2, rook takes d5. But white could have kept equal material by doing this. And yeah, the game is pretty much equal. So after that, when white passed up that option, I just went up a pawn, a clear pawn. And even though I'm a bit underdeveloped, with queens off the board, my king being safe, it shouldn't matter too much. I think black should be technically winning here. So I think I handled this okay. Sure, the technique wasn't perfect, but we'll take that. All right, so hope you enjoyed this using the clock as a weapon video. This is mostly for my own challenge and developing this discipline to really play my moves first and then talk about them later. There's a famous book called Move First, Think Later. So for me as a commentator, it's move first and then discuss the position later. And I notice Hikaru Nakamura is really good at this. He's always the model I have in mind when it comes to giving live commentary. So, okay, decent session. We'll take it. Probably gained a few rating points. And I'll try to continue this, because even this little practice in Blitz, no increment 3-0 Blitz, which really plays more like Bullet than Blitz in my opinion, this can help in something like the Lone Wolf series, the 30+30 games, when I get back into that, developing that discipline to stay even or preferably ahead on the clock. All right, hope everyone's doing well. I'll be back again soon with another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.